What kind of music is
All
what kind of
right.
music is this? What kind of music is it
Okay,
based on?
cool. Yeah, great question. Let's go ahead and dive in, and I'll kind of give the background to where it's coming from and everything like that. So let me share my screen. Let me make sure it's working. I think, can you guys hear this when I hit play? No? Uh, Oh, I guess I have to change. Yep, that's why you can't hear. All right, here, try this. All right, great. So let's get going. Uh, Lisa brought up a great question. What is this and what's it for and where what kind of reason? A lot of the information about it. So there's a show on TV called Catfish. It's quite an interesting show. They kind of investigate people that have been catfished out there and so if you're not quite sure what that is, watch the show and you'll kind of get the idea of it. But they use a lot of different kind of music. They use a lot of kind of transitional music. They use like when they're actually traveling to the new location wherever they're going. They use investigative music. They use like there's quite a broad range. And so I got a brief from one of my publishers a couple of weeks ago, and they said we need a bunch of these, and there's tons of different all these different genres. So one of them is kind of the investigative side where it's um, they're investigating like they've met with the client said I've met someone on the internet but I'm not sure they're really who they say they are, and so then the guys do kind of an investigation to kind of figure out is it really the person that they think is the person. And so they need this kind of investigative music, and it's got to have a little bit of tension in it. And let me see if I've got the form that I had popped up earlier. You guys probably can't see this, but I'll just read it out. I'll just read it out to you. It's on the first video where I just talk about what the beats per minute and what the key is and all that. So these are called detective catfish cues. So the BPMs are usually from 85 to 95. This one, my session is at 90. We need ambient sounds, pads, pulses, tension, keep thinking, unknown, mystery, reverse symbols. Those are all kind of the things to be thinking about. These are some words from the actual brief from the actual publisher, and they said suspense, investigative tension is needed. Genre is ambient, sparse, electronic, for online investigation, tense phone calls, and digging up the dirt on potential catfish. Ticking, driving elements work great. Keep the rhythm elements flowing and consistent. Industrial, ambient, drony, neutral, driving, dark, slow, and emotional. Can be very sparse, one or two elements. Creepy, eerie, off kilter, but not unsettling like a horror film. So don't go too dark where it's scary. So not that far. So this is the track that I've come up with, and then I'll kind of break down what I've got here and what I've put together, and then we'll go ahead and mix it. I think we're pretty good. As I said, I did the first half this morning, so I've rested my ears, 3 or 4 hours rest, so that's good. So this is the first time hearing it back, which is good because I'll probably hear a bunch of stuff straight away that I need to tweak. So here we go. All right, so it's a pretty much a, a sound that's kind of like, just keeps that tension going the whole time. There's little changes in there, it keeps moving. There's ups and downs of the kind of like different sounds. So I don't feel like it's not sticking out to me as boring, but it definitely has that undercurrent flowing of, the characters will definitely have room to talk over this. So it'll be really good emotional thing underneath as the characters are talking about, oh, this is what we found, and this is what we're looking for, and blah blah blah. So they're able to, it's not going to be distracting, but I think it has enough elements that it constantly keeps moving. So I'm liking it. Towards the end there, I'm just hearing a couple little things that I want to change. So I'll just run you through some of the plugins that I've used, or the virtual instruments. So the first pad, I'll solo it, is Omnisphere. And that's just a preset that I found the first off the bat, and I liked it straight away. And so that just set the mode, the emotion. And then I just doubled it down. I just copied and pasted the MIDI and played this sound. It's just the ticking part. So it's very similar to the other one, the other pad, but just adds the ticking part because I wanted that to come in a little later. And then we have a third pad. This kind of moves around a little bit. I really like this one. It kind of goes to left to right speaker. Just adds to the movement, or the ambient kind of stuff. Then we have a pulse that comes in later on in the song, like a low pulse that I really felt like I needed something to come in that. And that's a scoring pulses by Sample Hero. I like Sample Hero a lot. I've used a lot of their stuff. I have a lot of Sample Hero stuff, as you can kind of see here. I like their stuff. And it's just a low pulse. What frequencies you got there? Let's have a listen. Just a lot of the low stuff. 40, 50, 60 up to 100, and it kind of comes down. So maybe even that's 30. It's a lot of low stuff there. And then we have a kick, which I like this drum kit. I bought it a while ago. I haven't used much Epic drums before, but this has a really cool, I forget the company. I think it's called, might be Firm. I totally forget. I don't know if anyone knows what company this one is. I forget, but these are really cool. I got a bunch of these kind of packs, and I got so much stuff I've never even used. So I like this. As soon as I found it, I'm like, yep, this will work perfect for this genre. Oops, I moved that around. Got those kind of like trailer-esque hits, and then I just doubled that down, and I got some more hits, but it's doing a different kind of sound. So I just laid them down. So when I add them over here, oh, Keep Forest. Yes, thank you, Paul. Yeah. I think the ones that I got from Keep Forest, I think it was a Black Friday deal. You just buy everything that they had or something for some ridiculous low price, and they got some good stuff. So that's really cool. And then we've got just a hit here. Actually, I don't think I used this hit. No, it's muted. So those are muted. And then I have this reverse here. I like that reverse. I actually found it from Omnisphere Hits, and you can watch the first video to see how I kind of found that. It's called City of Anvils, and that was a cool little reverse thing. And I think I just printed that down to the audio, and I'm actually going to right now, while I remember, I'm going to double this down, and I'm going to use this same thing over here because I don't think I have it there. I've only got this low drone, which is another reverse thing that I found. It's like from swooshes. So I like that. I'm just going to double that down with this other sound. So those will go together. And then down here we have, I used another thing called swishes, and that's by Hero as well. Sometimes when they go on sale, you just pick up a few, and it's like it's really cool. So I like these swishes. These are really cool. Now, if you have Splice, you could do a lot of stuff on Splice. You don't have to get these exact samples. As I said, a lot of the time it's like sometimes they go on sale and it's like $10 or $15, and it's like shit, it's no brainer at all. It's just like, yeah, for sure. We'll have something to play with over the weekend. So whatever, if they go on sale, great, but sometimes you don't have to get these. It's the idea that we're talking about. So then I think that's it. And then I kind of just had some reversed swishes and reverse sounds in here. But that's all it is in this track. I'm actually going to hide these so we don't just hide them from view. So, yeah, Lisa, good question. Is there a main key? I think the key is E minor, even though sorry, C minor, C minor. Even though, even though I kind of changed it a little bit, I'm not 100% sure of the key. The note, yeah, the chords or the notes that I'm only playing, you don't really want to be moving too much around. So the notes I'm playing is C, C sharp, and an E. So I guess it wouldn't be a C minor. It might be a C. I think it's maybe A minor. But anyway, not a big deal. Just use those notes that feel right to give you those tension or those sounds. And I don't worry too much about what key it is because I'm not really doing, as I said, it's just a lot of kind of sounds. So let's play it again. Actually, let's play from the second half because there's a few things I want to fix up here. So I don't like that cymbal coming in again here. I don't like that one, so I'm actually going to just remove that. Actually, let's do a little trick. Let's take it down an octave. See if I can detune it, maybe by fifth. See what this sounds like. No, maybe not. Maybe an octave. Okay, that's pretty cool. So, I didn't want the same sound. You can tell it's the same hit going backwards. It's reverse stop and then it comes in again. I didn't like that. So I just dropped it a whole octave and it sounds a lot better, I think. Yeah, that's great. So that was a good little trick. I just didn't even, just random. So that's great. Do you need Omnisphere to use sample here? No. No, you don't, Vicky. Good question. Omnisphere is a bit more on the expensive side. It's like about, I think it's about $350 or something like that. But it does so much. And it's one of the first serious plugins that I bought. It's by Spectrasonics, and they have Keyscape and they have Trillion. And both are so deep. They do so much. You can actually layer up to 8 different pads or 8 different sounds. You can just go in here and load up another one. So you can have 8 sounds going at the same time. And you can do any of these. You can modulate everything, all these different filters, all these different LFOs, and it's super deep. But it's a bit more on the expensive side. If I was buying it, I don't. Yeah, you don't need this one. There's plenty of other free stuff out there too, but this is definitely what I've been using for a while, and that has a lot of cool sounds, like right out of the box. They're really cool. I do like it, and I have used it a lot for these kind of stuff. All right, so keep moving along. Let's hear that. Okay, so some reason it cuts out there. that pulsing thing, and so I don't know why. So I'm just making sure it's not overlapping or something. I might even just drag this out so it plays the whole time. This is great. This is great. Yeah, I don't need too many. I don't want to over do too much to it because I feel like it gets the feeling. It's not boring. It's got something happening. The more you start to add to it, the more it kind of gets maybe too much for that scene. It's all about the words that the characters are saying. The characters are giving finding out little twists, or they're finding little things out about this other person or this thing that they're investigating. So it's not about this creating this huge emotion with the music. It's about what they're saying and what the words there. It's actually really kind of more about the show. Definitely more in a scene like this one. So I'm feeling really good about this. Um, it's called a good question, Lisa. It's called spectrophonics. So let me just pull it up again, and you can write it down. So it's
Right.
S.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's called Spectrasonics, and that's the company. And then they do this one called Omnisphere. They do another one called Trillion, and they do another one called Keyscape. I only have Trillion and Omnisphere, and so but they're really good. They do a lot. But as I said, there are higher price tickets, and I don't think they go on sale really that much. But let's make sure. One of the things I'm noticing, I keep getting a bit of distortion. Keep getting redlining down at the bottom here, which means I haven't set things up to the proper buses. Everything's going to the main, and that's not correct. It just needs to go to the to the buses. So let's go to the top. We have pads. Let's give them a color. And I like to put the drum hits up the top. And I like to put pulses in red, or not pulses in red, but I like to do the bass stuff in red. These guys can go up here, different color. Pads can be just maybe different. Maybe I'll go with a bit more, something that feels a bit better. We got reverse effects. I'm going to put them up with the drums. And I'm going to change their color to something bright. And that's all we got. So now we know.
Steve, what's the duration that they usually look for? Like a minute and 40 seconds or
For usually a minute and a half, minute 40, but this brief has asked for 2 minutes to 2.5 minutes. So that's what they want on these ones. So it's like, okay, so I think this one goes for a little over two. So two and maybe 1 or 2 seconds probably. So because doesn't start till maybe the second, um, till the second. So yeah, we've got about just over 2 minutes on this one, which I think will be fine.
okay. Good, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we're going to make sure things are going to the correct buses. These are pads, so they're going to go to my pad bus, or I actually have a template called strings because the strings usually do the same thing as the pads. They kind of have that floaty kind of sound. Now we're going to go to pulses. I'm going to send that to the bass, to my bass. And then we have the effects or the reverses and stuff. I'm going to send those to the drums or the percussion kind of things. Then we have drums. These are my drums over here, or the ticking things. We're going to go to drums. And I'm actually going to get rid of these other things that are in the just cleaning up a bit here. All right, so it's a bit loud and a bit unmixed now, so I got to make sure that these buses that it's going to the right one. We don't have piano, we don't have acoustic guitar, we don't have electric, so we're going to delete those. And we don't have lead, vocal, or lead or backgrounds. This. So we're going to the mix. All right, cool. So let's move things around. Yeah, I think I'm going to extend out one of these reverse things. I'm going to extend it out just a bit more. And you know what I'm going to do? I love that low pulse, that low bass pulse. I'm actually going to copy that down on another track and start it earlier, but I'm going to turn it down so low that you don't even know it's there. And it's going to almost hint at what's to come. So I'm going to turn it around really low. So it's going to be here. And you know what? I might wash it out with a bit of reverb. So all you're going to kind of feel is you're going to hear something has happened down in the low section, but you're not going to even know that it's there. It's just going to build this presence and it's just going to keep adding to the overall feel. So let's just send a little bit of that to the reverb. Okay, that's cool. I think that's getting the feeling of what we're after on this one. So Yeah, I'm just thinking, I don't think I want to add anything. The only other thing that I might add is this pulse when it first comes in. I still want it to step again. I want it to step up one more step. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to automate that. So I'm just going to select making sure that the automation is switched on. So we're going to go to add a, I'm going to get audio, we're going to do volume, and then we're going to add that volume. And so then now I have this line, which means that I have a chance to automate this. So I'm actually just going to highlight this section. Well, let's figure out where exactly it is. No, actually, I'm going to turn up like this because I'm actually going to fade it up slowly. So that's all we're going to do. We're just going to Yeah, so it's going to slowly fade up, be turned up as we go through that low one. And then I also feel like to my ears, that's getting a bit harsh, that first pad going out throughout. So I might actually, it's got a bit of brightness into it in it. And I want to keep it down a little bit lower. So I'm actually going to add just a EQ here, stereo EQ. We're just playing with it, playing around with a few of the sounds. Um, I like that clicking thing, but I don't know if I want to have this B section in, which is the pad, which is just a double. So I wonder if I can kind of change that a little bit. Yeah, so it's kind of like a really harsh, kind of noisy kind of sound, but I'm going to turn it right down because that's actually doubling this other sound. So let me just play that as it comes in. It's kind of like this, kind of like a really kind of tense, kind of almost nasty kind of sound happening. But I like that. So I want that in there a little bit. Let's see if it's too much though. The attack might be a bit too much. So see if I can turn the attack down. Might be too much.
Are you saying that, Steve, because it might be too much sound for what they're asking?
No, I'm probably saying it for me, it's probably too nasty. It's too scratchy. It's
Oh, okay.
too,
Okay.
yeah, and yeah, so to answer kind of yes to both, like I feel like this song
Okay.
needs a bit more. It's that would be too intense. That would be too attacky or too
That even
like
gritty.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
too
it's like,
gritty,
ugh.
and from what I'm wanting. But maybe the song would want that, but I'm choosing kind of like no, I think it's too much for me now. So I've turned it down, and we'll see. So I'm going to play it one more time as it comes in.
Well, that's helpful to know, really.
Yeah, I think it's really it's see it's so low down here. It's like minus 50. Let's go minus 43. So it's very low in that mix. Yeah, there's something there. I know it's probably hard for you guys to hear, but
Oh, I can hear it.
you can hear it. So it's in
A
there.
little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of adds to the tension.
Grittiness. Yeah.
Yeah, the tension adds to it. What was the green again at the top? Oh, drums.
Gosh, I love this thing up here. This is probably part of my favorite thing that I did. So if you watch the first video, I created the drums in this Ferrum thing by Keep Forest. I created the drums, just I programmed it in myself, dun 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 dun, whatever I wanted, and then I just copied that down to this next one. But what's happening here is when I go to a different hit here, it goes up in the MIDI. It triggers a different sound in this uh, virtual instrument, which goes up a little thing. And it worked. It's a magic little, not a magic, an accidental, really cool thing. So if you have a listen to this, it goes up when it goes to that next MIDI note. Then it goes back down. Then it goes back up. And that's so cool. And I want a few of those notes earlier, I think. So I might put one in here. Um, when this goes up to here, I'm just going to move that up a note. Yeah, just something different.
That's nice.
Might drop that out and see if that goes. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like that. Um,
I like it. I like
yeah,
it.
as I'm kind of thinking I don't want to what do I add? And I'm like, I don't if I add too much to this, like I could do some more reverse cymbals, I could do some more other sounds kind of thing. But uh, I think it's at a place where it's done. And if I add more stuff, as I said, it just keeps building more and more and more. There's the more stuff you add, the bigger a track gets. And this is supposed to be like crime scene investigator. It's supposed to be kind of lower, definitely underscore, definitely kind of hidden in the mix. So I think I'm actually going to go with this. I think I'm going to start heading towards doing a mix down. Um, let's go again from the top, and I'm going to kind of start doing a little bit of mix. Now, a track like this, because there's not that many elements in it, it's an easy one to mix. There's not much you have to play, and it can be low. It doesn't need to be really compressed and really loud. It just needs to be at a good volume. So, of course, I'm going to be watching my meters as well, and even my meters on towards here at the end. My main master bus or my mains here. I want it to be in the 75-80%. I can't have it down here at 50. So if I was, let's just say it was down here, let's watching this red one here. If my mix was like this, let me push play. If these are my levels, that's wrong. That's 100% wrong. It's too low. It's too low. It needs to be up here. So I need to be, and a very simple rule is that if this is 100%, it needs to be over 50, it needs to be over about 75, it needs to be around the 80, 85, 90%. On a track like this, it just has to be around that 75, 80 for it all in order for it to sound like it's professional. If it's below 50, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's not properly mastered or so that's just a great way to look at it. And so now I'm going to be pushing the levels into that a little bit to make it a little bit louder. So everything's going into this master bus. And again, I'll just really quickly explain for anybody who's maybe hasn't seen it, but how I set up my templates or how I set up my session. If this was a big mixing console or big mixing desk that you would go into a studio and see, you'd have all of your instruments on the left. You got your drums, then you got your bass, next channels, then you got your strings. And then I have them all, or some of them sent to some effects. I have some reverb going. There's nothing on, nothing's getting sent to this second reverb at all in this track, but it's just sitting there ready to go. Then I have my buses. All the drums have been summed into this one bus, which if you have a look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 drums, and I don't know, this is contact piano. There's nothing on that. So all my drums are going to the drum bus right here. And then all my bass, where I've only got 2 basses there, they're going to the basses. All my pads, Omnisphere pads, are going to my strings. Now, all of these guys then get summed down again to my mix bus. And now we're going to start working a little bit on the mix bus. And then everything then gets sent to the master bus. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to explain, but definitely ask me if you're not quite sure how that works. But it's definitely how you set the system up right to sound good right from the beginning. And you haven't even done much. You've just set it up right. So let's go ahead and keep mixing my mix bus down. So now I'm on my master bus, and if you've watched any of these videos, you've seen me kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. When you're getting to the stage of mastering, you're not doing that much. You're kind of like just bumping the levels up a little bit more. You're cleaning up the track a little bit more, and you just don't want it over compressing. And but you're kind of doing obviously all the production, all the work is in the production, a little less in the mixing, and then as you get to the mastering, you're just polishing up what you had at the beginning. So right. I have to turn that down a little bit. Okay, so that reverse cymbal, I need a bit more reverb on that. Let's try some reverb that looks like there's nothing on it. Right. Let's do a fade here on the ending. And the beginning. So where do we want to start? I usually have this on the grid, so I start at maybe looks like maybe a quarter beat before. Looks like actually half a measure before. Maybe I think yeah, that's about a half a measure before, or even whatever it is on the grid, and then I just do this to make sure that I know I do a fade on my master track so that I can kind of see if this ever moves around, if I ever move that around by accident or push a button and it changes, I know that that's where everything was bounced down from this spot. So it makes it really easy bouncing down alt versions. That's great. So right from the beginning, you can see that it's over half. We're starting at about 60%. And as the track goes, it keeps building. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so I'm going to bounce down my first mix here. I'm going to come up with a name, something about detective or discovering the real truth. Maybe I like that. Discovering.
The reveal.
I like that too. Yeah, discovering
Yeah.
the real truth. The exactly the truth.
The reveal.
I like
Revealing
that.
the
True.
truth. Yeah.
Revealing the truth. Yeah, those are all great titles, excellent titles actually, because that's what that's what would grab their attention. Like we need something when we're revealing the truth, and then they see the reveal or truth, and it's like, oh, that's yeah, they're gonna play your track. So let's bounce this down. I'm gonna do mix one. I always come back and do maybe two or three mixes, just to kind of make sure that um, I rested my ears and I come back with fresh ears tomorrow and I check out the mix and then I do another one. So I do a waveform, 24-bit, 48 hertz because that's the sample rate I'm in. So I'm not sampling down. I'm not doing anything different. I'm just bouncing it out. So that's how you should bounce them down. So it's a wave file. And then I also have an MP3. It's at 48, and I do the highest bit rate, which is 320 kilobytes per second. And then this is all just pretty much self-explanatory between the loop. I'd already created that. And we go, okay, discovering the real truth, mix one. There we go. There we go. Now we bounce it down. Very cool. So there we go, guys. There we go.
Thanks. It
Hopefully
looks pretty easy,
these
actually.
these are
Yeah.
pretty easy. Of course I've done many of them. I was actually just looking the other day and I was looking at Catfish cues and I was looking back at like 2014, I think it was, and I had a bunch back then. And it's like I've been doing these Catfish for a while. MTV is great. MTV, when they place the stuff, they use it over and over and over again. So anything on MTV, if you see a brief that comes in for MTV, jump on it because if you can land on some of those, they use it not only that show, it keeps airing and airing and airing, like they keep playing it all through the night and everything, and that obviously triggers new royalties. So but yeah, that's a good one to do. Again, yeah, Catfish use a lot of different things, and this brief came from one of the publishers that I'd love for you guys to kind of meet, and we'll kind of keep I'm working on trying to get you. I want to see if they'll come in for an interview or something like that as well. But a few of you guys are already with them, which is good. Who's ready to do one?
I am.
Awesome.
Pretty easy. It sounds like you could do a lot in one sitting,
And
actually.
absolutely. And part of the hardest part, I think, is understanding when you've got the emotion and you've caught the emotion and they're not adding too much to it. Because if I keep creating and spend another 5, 10 hours adding stuff, it's not going to make it more placeable. It's just going to make it more interesting and more attractive, which does is not a good thing because the directors want something that is not that attractive and is not going to grab your attention because they're revealing these little truths or these twists in the story that this they found out that this person is not who they are, blah blah blah. So they're you don't want it too shiny. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
too shiny. It'd be blinding, and they won't even use it. So having something that just underlines, and you listen when you listen to it. If you want to go to Catfish, or just go to YouTube and do Catfish show, and they've got tons of
Okay.
episodes up there, and you'll hear it. You know, you'll hear the kind of stuff. It's very easy to get lost in the film. So either turn the put a towel on the TV or put a something, or you can't see the screen, and don't
And
get
just
lost in the
listen.
story. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Awesome, guys. Oh, I just checked the chat here. Sample here is a separate. Yeah, that's right. Paul said Sample here is a separate company. Their packs aren't very expensive. Yeah, that's 100% true. That they're not that expensive, but they're really cool. I really like Sample Hero stuff. They got some really cool stuff where you push one key and you're like, that's pretty much the sound I'm looking for. That's what I want. And then you might just tweak a little bit, but you're like, that's the sound that I want in this whole packet, you know, or whatever you're doing. So awesome, guys. So any last questions, last minute questions before I let everyone run? No.
Not that I can
This
think
is
of.
really cool. Yeah, thank you for this. It's I'm just definitely going to do a few of these.
Yeah, these are easy and um yeah, these are pretty easy and they get used all the time. And just think when you're doing these, think like when you go onto the show and you listen to the sounds, don't copy the sounds exactly. Go a little bit different because they probably have tons of those sounds. So if you hear a certain kind of sound, see if you can do the same kind of sound, but very different texture or different sound. I know it's hard to kind of say, but the thinking is because in the next season, they're going to be looking for something a little different, but does the same thing, but they're going to be looking for something different because they've used that other one 1,000 times. So they're not going to look for the same sound. If you have the same sound, then they're going to be like, they're going to go, oh, this sounds like last year's, And so always be trying to go with a unique, original thing, but keeping the same texture. So an idea is, get creative, like get totally creative. Like create one of these pads and then put a mic in the corner of the room and re-record that sound and then turn the original down and then you've got this thing that you've done weird stuff. It's something just different that's so unique and that's what I feel like is gets you the spots on these ones.
You're mentioning Keyscape as well and Omnisphere, so I've got all three, but quite a few of the Keyscape ones are actually in Omnisphere 2 as part of the package too. So if you're only
Oh,
buying one, Omnisphere 2 is probably obviously the best one to get. But
oh, that's
Trillian's
good.
brilliant too for bass stuff. Like, it's really cool.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I haven't got Keyscape. I know that a lot of my peers were, buying when it first came out, they were raving about it. And sometimes when people rave about it, I'm like, okay, well, I won't get that one because I want original sounds. Everyone
Yeah.
else has got that one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'll go with the other
Yeah.
one then. So uh but awesome guys. Well, thanks for that. And yeah, we'll start cranking them out and then shoot them over and we'll see if we can do an album of these for ourselves. And yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
Have a
Sounds
you.
like
great week.
fun.
No worries. We'll
Yeah,
see you
you guys
later.
have a good week. Bye.